people, Monday Night Show viewers, to know about and to understand, because this is a remarkable accomplishment. Over 24 million?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And thanks, Vitamin Angels they make sure we are the prenatal program. There's no one else. We're the largest donor of prenatal vitamins in the world. No one else is close. Whether we're talking about America or all over the world, no one else is close. It's something, because I recognize there's no more important time for a vitamin to make a difference in a life than a prenatal vitamin. So it's something that we've taken very seriously for the last 5, 6, 7 years, and we have become really the singular source of prenatal vitamins around the world. And Vitamin Angels, they've always been focused on children's vitamins around the world, so they've been kind enough. They are the pipeline. So we make them all, and they are the pipeline that gets them into the hands of women in dozens of countries around the world. And literally, I think it's now 22% of all the prenatal vitamins we donate go right here in America. So it's not just, I've often been criticized because why am I donating all these vitamins all over the world? No, 22%. We have a higher standard of living here, but still 22% of them right here, and those are all the states. And whether they're in parts of inner cities that struggle, or whether it's parts of rural areas that struggle, or whether it's in Native American reservations, that we make sure we get them to healthcare providers wherever they are who need them for the mothers that are in need. So
not to talk about Andrew like he's not here, but that really is, it's the icing on the cake when you talk about this entire experience. There is no other brand that I am aware of, no other company that I know.
What's cool, I think that picture, I'm not sure where that is. That might be, obviously it looks like it could be somewhere in Tibet or Nepal, right, but they're holding the vitamin bottles that you see when you watch my remote and you see us making Vitamin Angels. Those are, it gives me goosebumps. Those are our vitamin bottles. So whether it's in Kenya, or whether it's in Tibet or Nepal, or whether it's in Haiti, which now has a new set of issues to deal with there, or whether it's somewhere in the U.S., these are vitamin bottles that your supporting my company allows us to do a good that I never dreamed being able to do 5 years ago, let alone 25 years ago.
But when we all come together, amazing things can happen. And so my point with this, and knowing Andrew and knowing this incredible company and product, is that it's all a win-win. It's all good, from how they're made, the quality of the ingredients, how it's going to make you feel, and then how it's giving back as well. So that's why we encourage you to be a part of it. And Andrew, our next product for so many of us, whether we're on our feet every day or whether we're maybe sat down every day watching TV, this is one of those, again, iconic products.
And then to give you a sense of how we're getting here, we started with the foundation, which is Essential 1. Yep. If you might want to have some separates to add to it, whether it's vitamin D or C, or even gamma-tocotrienols, a form of vitamin E, or the omega-3 fatty acids, which then become essential nutrients that are really like the essential nutrients in a multivitamin. Our body can't make them. So as we then talked about the beauty products there, we talked about healthy hair, skin, and nails. We talked about our marine collagen peptides and our phytoceramides.
Right.
Any one of those or all of those. And then we're now going to talk about more sort of products that relate to how we move through the world. So I thought circulation and vein support, and then our glucosamine and chondroitin. And of course, in our marine collagen peptides, we also add MSM, methylsulfonylmethane, which is great for smooth skin, but also great for our joints. So circulation and vein support, it's one of those products that no one ever believes it will do what it will do until they've tried it and experienced it. And so much of what we experience in our lower extremities, it's not just about our joints, it's about our body's ability to not just carry circulation down there. What it really boils down to is how effectively our blood vessels can get that circulation back up without it swelling those tissues, literally inflating those tissues as we pump more and more blood down there to try to push back the blood that's already there, because there are no pumps in our feet, mind you. So it's a product that, again, going through the reviews, the most compelling reviews in terms of just transformational experiences in the swelling of feet, ankles of calves, the appearance of veins. I encourage everyone to read the reviews, and if you have a feeling at the end of the day that you'd like to not have in your lower extremities, it's worth a try, and no better time than now because it's 3.5-month money-back guarantee.
And Andrew, one of the things that I kept on seeing come up when I read the reviews was restless leg. A lot of people that have restless leg or suffer from that, my mom suffers badly with that, they keep talking about this.
I was always fascinated when a number of years ago they started talking about restless leg syndrome.
Right.
That it's always, I hate to say it, it's like drug companies looking for a new disease. That it's just that some of them are truly interesting. But I think some of us just struggle with a general discomfort that's not, quote, like there's no pathology, there's no disease that could really be associated with it. It's just a discomfort. And so much of that discomfort, whether it could be muscle cramps or things like that, or tingling, it's just associated with the aging circulation. And I'm standing up here, it sort of defines one of the problems of the human condition, is that our heart is up here. It's pumping blood down to the largest muscles in our body. So it's pumping blood down there, huge volumes of blood carrying oxygen and nutrients. And those huge muscles generate waste products, they generate CO2. That has to be carried back up along with all the blood that got pumped down there. As I said before, there's no pumps in our feet. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist or a physicist to predict if we keep pumping blood down there, and that's blood that we're pumping down is pushing the new blood back up. If that process isn't perfect, if those veins aren't healthy, then that blood being pumped down there, what is it going to do? It's going to make our feet bigger, our ankles bigger, our blood vessels bigger. What does it do? It makes our feet bigger. It's exactly what we experience. It's very predictable. But to the extent we can make those veins, support those veins, promote healthier veins in those tissues, the tissues enlarge less, they inflate less, the swelling of the veins is decreased, and that's what this product provides. And it's really sort of not a cure for a disease, it's a cure for the human condition, or it's a treatment for the human condition.
Well, I'm thrilled that tonight, and I just was told that we are welcoming in hundreds, thousands of brand new customers to Andrew's line, and that's exciting to see. It's exciting to hear. I think as your first venture into the wonderful world of HSN, you are going to be so happy and excited to do this. When you choose, obviously the biggest value is the largest size, but if you just want to go for the smaller one, of course you can do as well. Here's how it breaks down. There's a 30 capsule over there. You have the 60, 180, 360, and the savings are really self-explanatory, all the way up to $30.
And you only take 2 capsules. This is a product that, again, this is, as we said before, many questions, when do you take them?
Sure.
You could take this any time of day. This won't keep you up at night. You could even take this without a meal. It won't upset your stomach. It's a nutrient that's well absorbed, even not in the presence of other foods. I tend to take all my supplements always with a meal or close by a meal, because that's our body is designed to design nutrients when we deliver them with food. Macronutrients stimulate the process by which we absorb micronutrients. So, but this you could take throughout the day, anytime. It's 2 capsules, no need to take 3. Ideally, if you look at the clinical studies and research, which are abundant on this, just 2 capsules. But so why don't we, so we were just talking about something that relates to the comfort of our lower extremities.
Right.
Also relates to the comfort of our hands and things like that, because a lot of people have issues with the swelling of their hands. Yeah. But the joints are something that affects our mobility, our ability to get around. And that's where glucosamine and chondroitin come in.